Hey everyone, this is Alex from ninjateacher.com out here in beautiful Vietnam. It's a little bit rainy as you can see, but it's a nice day. It's still really warm, even though it's midwinter here. So really nice out here. And what I want to talk about today is whether there are TEFL scams. Now, you may or may not have heard about TEFL courses for teaching English abroad. So I'm going to quickly go over what that is and if there are scams that you have to watch out for, as well as which course should you take. It's been bothering me a little bit because the whole idea of teaching English in Korea here in Seoul, Korea. In Thailand, I'm out here in beautiful Hanoi, Vietnam. Okay, so first of all, what is a TEFL course? Well, it's essentially a certification that you can use along with your bachelor's degree and being a native English speaker to help you find a teaching job. So it essentially boosts your resume, makes your resume look more appealing because they see you have done a bit of work towards becoming an English teacher. They see you know the basics, and when I say they, I mean schools that are hiring. So it's really a good thing to have when you're applying for jobs. Now, why do people think that they're getting scammed when they're getting one of these courses? Well, a lot of people are concerned that a TEFL course isn't internationally recognized. They may think that you know some are really cheap and some are really expensive. There's a huge disparity in the cost. So naturally, if you don't know much about it, you're going to be inclined to worry that a course that you sign up for isn't legit. So I'm going to give you my advice as someone who has been working to help find people jobs for over a year now in the industry in South Korea, in Thailand, Vietnam, China. And I'm going to give you my opinion on which TEFL courses you should or shouldn't do. So basically, if you have to bring it down to the basics, a TEFL course is a nice addition to your resume that boosts it and adds credibility to your application. So why then are there ones that are really expensive versus ones that aren't? Well, one of the big factors is in-class versus online TEFLs. And there are some benefits to in-class courses because they are giving you some experience. They give you experience in the classroom with actual teaching, interacting with students. But then you get the online courses, which are purely practical, and you just submit assignments and go through the material. So those are the two big factors in terms of cost. And I would say, from my experience, that the in-class TEFL does not give you much benefit over an online one. Now, there are certain exceptions to this. For example, the EPIC program now wants you to have at least 20 hours in class. So if you're applying for the EPIC program, you can go for that. You should do that, otherwise they might not consider you. However, most other employees, and I've said this a few times before, but there's thousands and thousands of private academies hiring teachers in South Korea, whereas EPIC only brings in a much smaller percentage of teachers. So for the most part, having an online course without any in-class components makes no difference. The private academies don't care about that. And I've seen this from experience. They just want to see that you have it. If you've got one, it's great. It boosts your resume, but they don't care about that in-class component. The one exception in countries outside of South Korea is the CELTA. The CELTA course is great because it is Cambridge certified, but then you're paying in the thousands of dollars for this course. But I wouldn't recommend you get the in-class course unless you're applying for EPIC. I would just recommend you get an online one because that will qualify you for, in my opinion, about 90% of the teaching English jobs out there. And if you're just coming out to start teaching, I don't think it's really worth investing that much time into, that much money at least, into a course unless you particularly want to get that in-class experience. And then another reason why I say this is because a lot of times schools really want to see if you have experience or not with teaching. Now, a lot of places will hire you without experience, and that's why just getting a cheap online TEFL to get your foot in the door is a great way to start teaching. And then after you have some experience, it doesn't really matter as much because then a school will see you have experience, and that's more valued than any certification you have. Then if you really do want to add on to your qualifications, you can look into doing a teaching certification. Okay, so that just went into the online versus offline TEFL a little bit, but essentially what I wanted to get down to was the online TEFLs, are there scams, and do you have to worry about whether you're getting one that isn't a legit qualification? Well, the fact of the matter is, again, schools don't really recognize the difference between different TEFLs. They really don't care if you got it from a website that charges you $300 for a 120-hour one or $150. And I've seen this from experience. They just want to see the certificate. So, in my opinion, most of the online TEFLs are okay. And if you do want to get one that's accredited, just look out for that. It helps, but for the most part, people really don't mind which one it is, and schools don't care that much. And I know there's going to be some people that comment on this video and say, well, having an in-class course is better. From my experience, that isn't the case unless you apply to EPIC, for example. For jobs in Vietnam, Thailand, China, and private academies in Korea, an online course from pretty much any online company will do the job just fine. And that's for maybe 80 to 90% of jobs. Of course, there are some jobs that want you to have high qualifications, but that's, you don't need to be able to get every job. You need to be able to get a job that's good for you. All right, so I hope that clears it up a little bit. I would recommend you just get an affordable online one. Just search around for one of those. You can check out the one we have on our website, or look for other affordable ones. But in my opinion, that's going to be good enough to get you going if you have a bachelor's degree and are a native English speaker. Okay, so that covers it. Hope you found this useful. If you are thinking of coming out to South Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, China, then give me a shout. Head over to ninjateacher.com and we can see if we can find you something in terms of a job. So, hope you have an awesome day. I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers. Whew, got hot out there.